All right, so this is Josh Holmes, and I'm here at, I guess this is Tuesday, at PDC 2008. And I'm sitting here with Tim Huckabee, Regional Director, San Diego, is that?
Yeah, Southern California.
Southern California,
Yeah.
okay. And we're in the open spaces section, and we just sat through a talk by Steven Sinofsky. And what did you think of all that?
The talk or his keynote?
Well, let's
both
just, both.
were fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Microsoft keynote guy. Typically, I don't even attend the keynotes because we're briefed on the messaging and such before the keynotes. But man, he was awesome. I don't really know Steve that well. I've only shaken hands with him, so I can't. I'm not like kissing up because we're buddies. He was fantastic, and I'm fired up about Win 7. And whereas after the meetings on Sunday where we got briefed on this, I was like, okay, cool, another client OS. But after today, and then his honesty about the process they're going through and the usability they go through and all this, I'm honestly pretty fired up. Internology, my company, does a ton of touch-based software. We're the industry leader for Surface. We've built over 10 applications for the Microsoft Surface. Clearly, this is our future. Win 7 and touch-based apps for the masses, as opposed to just the elite that can afford the $15,000 table or $10,000 or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm kind of fired up. But he's a nice guy. We can't say that about all the execs at Microsoft, right? I mean, certainly Scott Goo is a great, nice guy, but we can't say that about all these execs. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, well, I was just very impressed that he actually came down to the open spaces and sat and just answered questions for like 40 people, and it was just very open.
I was shocked. Yeah. In all honesty, I got an email like 1:30 in the morning, like, hey, in case you didn't know, Steve Sinofsky is actually going to be in open spaces and talk to the people, and not just the Microsoft influential people or Microsoft people, just anybody who wanted to stop by.
Yeah.
So there was a plethora of people here, just PDC attendees.
Yeah.
I don't think Bill Gates has ever done that. Or Palmer,
right, absolutely.
Or Ray Ozzie. Maybe Ray can do this tomorrow. That's a great idea.
That'd be awesome.
So Ray, show up tomorrow and do one of these things. I think it would be cool.
Or at least Goo.
Oh, Scott would do this in a heartbeat. Yeah.
So back to Windows 7. You mentioned touch as a big thing for you, and for Internology.
I think it's the future of the way we're going to build applications. It's just a lot easier to touch the screen. The dexterity, the gestures with your hands, the natural user interface just makes a lot more sense than that darn mouse thing, which at the time was revolutionary, but it's 10 years old at least.
Right.
Josh?
Absolutely.
How old's the mouse?
I have no idea. Yeah.
At least 10 years old. And frankly, it just makes a lot more sense. It's like eliminating a step in the process if you just touch the screen directly. Clearly, there's some hurdles to this, some huge hurdles. Is this in relation to .NET and .NET developers?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Well, there's some hurdles in that. The Surface team released their SDK, believe it or not, to the masses, which is another awesome thing about the PDC. Surface team released their SDK, and the Windows folks are trying to get a client OS done. At the same time, the Surface folks have done an SDK, and they haven't really met in the middle yet, but they will. The roadmap for the masses is managed code applications.
Right.
With touch ability. And multi-touch and all that business. And today we saw in the keynote, mostly Win32 type stuff, and then the hardware itself intercepting mouse events, which isn't developer at all.
Right.
It's like running Word on your touch computer, and the OS and the hardware just kind of figuring out that it could do it. So the future is truly us, you, us, a number of these folks here, building touch-based application in managed code.
Right.
And I think the roadmap is pretty darn clear. It's just every time we come to the PDC, we get all excited and we want it now, right?
Right.
I want it now, and we're gonna have to wait a bit.
Yep.
Win 7's not gonna ship until next year sometime.
Right.
The Surface SDK is not gonna permutate the entire Microsoft stack for a while. But man, it's exciting times. Exciting times for developers. I say that every time I come to the PDC. I really do.
But it is.
I shouldn't be surprised by this stuff.
It's a great time to be in the industry. It is a great time to be in Microsoft Technologies.
I wish I was 20 years old though, Josh. Oh man. Yeah, I want to write production code again instead of all the brilliant people at Internology that work for me. Yeah, and in all honesty too, I mean, let's face it, it's just not that hard to build good software anymore.
Right.
I mean, if you had hair, you could say, I have gray hair and I've been doing this a long time. And I most certainly have gray hair and I've been doing this a long time, and we really have no right to complain.
Right.
I mean, we've got the tools and plumbing. It just makes it pretty darn easy to build great software. And what we learned today is the future will be even better. So I'm fired up. I'm tired because I keep having to go out at night and drink with you people, but I'm still fired up.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking, I guess, almost 6 minutes now, so twice the time.
Sorry.
But no,
I'm a little wordy.
No. I unfortunately let it run on myself. So, but thank you very much, Tim. And very briefly, how do we find Internology on the web?
INTERKNOWLOGY.com. If you want to see the wild, bleeding edge Surface stuff, that's it's linked off there, of course, but you can go straight to silverlight.internology.com.
People interrupting over there. So, anyways, thanks, Tim.
My pleasure.